am sorry that I was unable to attend all classes, but as I said, my last semester with you was fruitful, so I hope that this will be some kind of excuse for me. As far as my paper remained the same, so my topic with my presentation was is called Muslim Youth in Christian Georgia. And because we are talking about fundamentals of Islam, I decided it would be pretty interesting to speak about the challenge that Islam fundamentally and branches of Islam have in Georgia. And I made a sub-chapter, title called True and Untrue Islam. And some may think that what's all about, why do I use this term true and untrue Islam? But I hope that by the end of my presentation you will understand what type of significant challenge Muslim community in Georgia has. And I think that for IKI Academy it will be very interesting because it's working in the postal space, especially to find out that this challenge is on the ground, and this is fundamental challenge regarding to some basic statements and basic perception among the Muslim community. So let me just briefly say what we are going to do. So for those who are unaware about Georgia, this is a country located near Russia, bordering Turkey, Azerbaijan, Armenia. If you go to Caspian Sea, it's Aktau, the Kazakhstan. I've been there, really nice place, and also we have a very close relation with Iran. So Georgia is very diverse space where there are Shia, Sunni, also Christian Orthodox coming from Russia, Kazakhstan near side, and that's pushed Georgia to be extremely multicultural country. So if you just walk in Georgian city center, you can see people from Arabic countries, people from Turkey, Iran, Azerbaijan, Armenia, Russia, Ukraine, and they all feed the same place. They peacefully collaborate, exchange cultural things, knowledge, and thanks God, alhamdulillah, we have no wars yet. As I said, it's borders to Turkey, Russia, Azerbaijan, Armenia, by sea to Romania, Bulgaria, Ukraine, and also very close relations with Iran. Geopolitically, Georgia was always a place where Christianity and Islam clashed. I don't want to go too deeply to history of how Islam appeared, but it was in 644, 642, when Arabic army came to the border. Then they captured Georgia, but there was no process of attempt to turn Georgians radical to Islam, because Georgians by then time were already Christians, and as a people of the book, the so-called people of the book, Georgians had a chance, or at least nominally, to choose whether they would like to remain in Christianity or turn to Islam. But thanks to significant influence from Persian Empire, Arabic civilization, and Ottoman Empire, by the end of the day, we are having 11% of Muslims living in Georgia. This is a lot. Some may think, I mean, for me, when I thought that it's like 11% of Muslims live in Georgia, I thought that it's minority, but then I found out that in United States, Black people represent only 12% of population, and we see how Black issue and the issue of Black Lives Matter is significant. You may think that this is like half of the population, but it's only 12%. So I always compare this to make sure that this 11% is a vast, enormous amount of people. For information, 86% of Georgians are Christians. Absolute majority of them are Orthodox Christians, meaning that they do not belong to Catholicism, Protestantism. Either they belong to the Orthodox Christian world, where there is Serbia, Hungary, Russia, now Ukraine, also Jerusalem. So not the most widely shared Christianity in general. And the rest of the population, 11% Muslims, and then they will have Catholics, and so on and so forth. So you probably understand that the Muslim community is almost like surrounded by vast majority of Christians. What is important to say that they are pretty This is not Christianity that is nominal, meaning that we are Christians, but we do not go to church and we do not really implement our religious beliefs in everyday life. No, oppositely, we just held Easter, and I can say that this Easter once more showed that Georgian Orthodox Church and Christianity, also Christianity, are the strongest institutions, the most trusted institutions in the country, and no one can challenge them, either from non-governmental sector or from the government. So they all are under the influence of the religion and the church in general. And this is a big difference when we speak about Islam and we speak about Christianity, that Islam is not centralized as it is Christianity, where precise institutions represent very clear religious doctrines and standpoints. Well, this is a really nice map. I think it will show you how Georgia is located. You can see the colored one is Georgia, beneath is Turkey, then Armenia, Azerbaijan, above is Russia, beneath of Armenia, Azerbaijan, this Iran. From the right side of Azerbaijan, here is Caspian Sea, and here is Kazakhstan. City Aktau, very nice, very beautiful. And you can see that the darker color is region is more populated by Muslim community. You can see the Kakheti region that borders with Russia, Kemo-Kartli, and Tbilisi, where do live, Kemo-Kartli, that borders with Azerbaijan, is also very dark, because through Azerbaijan there was influence of Islam, and Iran that captured at some point the whole territory. And you can see the borders with Ajara region is also very dark. I mean, you can see the tendency that the Turks that represent descendants from Ottoman Empire, they heavily influenced Ajara region, and Muslims are here vastly. Iran that represented Persian Empire, vastly influenced Azerbaijan, Kakheti, and Kemo-Kartli. And you can see that the territory from here, from Russia, is lighter and lighter, because the territories were influenced by Russia were mainly populated by Christians. So there's a really clear tendency. But these three regions, Kemo-Kartli is the most populated by Muslims. They are mainly Azerbaijani Muslims, and Ajara regions are Muslims attached to Turkey. And as far now, the Turkey supports this region when it comes to support of Muslim community. Iran and Azerbaijan usually are very active here. Kakheti region is somehow more neutral, but there are places like Penkisi Gorge here, where that is bordered with Chechnya, and you all probably know that Chechnya is a very religious, Muslim religious country, and they are also heavily influenced by this Chechnya, Ingushetia, and Muslim republics, part of the Russian Federation. So to summarize, there are probably approximately 400,000 Muslims living in Georgia. Contrary to Georgian Christians that are mainly demographically aged, these people, as in all Muslim, almost all Muslim countries, are pretty much younger, and there is a vast majority of youngsters living in this Muslim community that also is the part of the issue. The total number of Georgians living, the population is 3,800,000 people, and 400,000 people are Muslims. That's a lot, to summarize. What are the problems? Why we speak about the true untrue Islam? The problem here is, to summarize, is that Georgia, after the Soviet Union, returned to what they call mother religion, Orthodox Christianity, and the role of Christianity and the church became so significant that the rest of the religious denominations were, if not abandoned but put to the edge of the political and social life. So, and until 2013, when ISIS rose, no one actually spoke about the problems that these 400,000 people have, and that they are still detached from the general political processes in the country. No one spoke about the influence that external actors are having there. But in 2013-14, when ISIS arose, I was invited by Caucasian House in Tbilisi, who was financed by UK Embassy in Tbilisi, to finally get some basic data about what is happening in the Muslim community. I can say that our first publication was in 2016, but all the same problems remain after almost 8 years. I double-checked information. I'm currently working on my paper. I can say that the problems are almost the same, because once we made our publication, and ISIS was as a power destroyed, the Georgian government as well as the general population just relaxed and decided that as soon as the terror threats are no more, we can just continue as we were, focusing mainly on Christian roots and leaving Muslim community just to deal with the problem themselves. So what were the main findings that I wanted to, in this case, present to you, because the research paper was pretty big, is that Georgian Islam in Georgia is not monolithic. This is very interesting. If we can speak sometimes that we have like some Muslim country where like 86% are Sunni, Shia, Salafi, or something like that. In Georgia, every region is separated on three main movements. It's Sunnism, Shiism, and Salafism. And respectively, those regions that are attached to Turkey share the branch of Islam that is accepted in Turkey. Those who are attached to Iran respectively have the same influence. And there is a very interesting small piece of land, as I said, Pankisi Gorge, that is attached to borders to Chechnya and Russia, where there was something that we call traditional Islam. And I will speak about the traditional Islam later on. But thanks to a high income from Chechnya in North Caucasia after the first Chechen War, the second Chechen War, this traditional Islam was mixed by those who share different branches of Islam. And from the late 2000s, mid-2000s and late 2000s, we can speak that very strong influence of Saudi Arabia appeared there. And those people who get education in Saudi Arabia, they were the followers of Salafist movement, arguing that the traditional Islam and the Islam that existed in this Pankisi Gorge for centuries is not something that true Islam is. And they brought this concept of true and untrue Islam. And I just would like to tell you that we had the conference where Shia Muslims from Kartli, Azerbaijanians especially, were shouting that the Salafist movement and Juma mosque are terrorists, that they promote radical views, intolerance. On the other hand, the representatives of Salafists who were extremely educated, they knew Arabic well, they knew Russian well, they knew Georgian well, extremely educated young people were arguing that they do not promote extremism, they promote the clear and true and clean from various misleading statements Islam. But this confrontation was extremely radical, I remember. And also the former head of the council of elderly people in Pankisi Gorge that were the followers of the traditional Islam said that the Islam is going through the fight against the how we call it, the generation of fathers and sons, where on the one hand there are fathers and grandfathers who share the views of traditional Islam, and I will explain what traditional Islam means, as opposite to those who are under the influence of Saudi Arabia, some other countries, and who share the Salafist movement and say that their ancestors, their fathers and grandfathers were misled, and they cannot offer anything in real Islam to the new generation. For now, we can say that this Salafist movement in Pankisi Gorge almost combined all youth. So the youth became extremely devoted to this movement, and I will tell also why there is a reason. And one thing that I should say that by the government of Georgia, the Salafist movement that exists in Pankisi Gorge, lesser in Ajar region that borders with Turkey, perceives the Salafi movement as a possible threat. And it's not a secret that they actively are working with these people, listening to them to make sure that no black money or no radical views will be shared. And I can bring one example that was considered at the European Court of Human Rights in Tbilisi-based. The young man shot dead and killed as a part of the special operation because the government argued that he was attached to some Qatar and Saudi Arabian groups, that he was a member of the Salafist movement, and that he was planning a terrorist attack in Georgia or planning to move to Syria and in Iraq to join ISIS. Well, by the end of the day, despite human rights represents arguing that it was unlawful special operation, that the court decided that there were actually the reasons to conduct the special operation, but the investigation as whether the appropriate power and force was used against him or not were not sufficient. That's why the government was fined, and his father every single day in front of the Georgian parliament was standing there and saying that the government killed his son because he was a Muslim and he was a movement representative of the Salafi movement. So this issue is not something that we can joke about. So as a part of my paper for the fundamentals of Islam, I asked myself, what is the significant issue that Muslim youth has in Georgia? And actually the biggest problem that actually this Muslim youth has is the process of self-determination. So because Muslim youth in Georgia perfectly understand that they are not Christians in an extremely Christian country, they are looking for ways to self-determine themselves, to realize to whom they belong and where they can find their future prospects. And in this way, they are usually on the crossroad between the traditional Islam, whether it's Sunni or Shia branches or Salafia. And in this sense, traditional Islam, what is traditional Islam? Traditional Islam is Islam that was accepted by local Georgians after 642, and then that was then undergone through various changes as a part of the new tradition that came from North Caucasus. So traditional Islam is Islam that was mixed with these traditions and what we call adats of the North Caucasian people. So if we can say that, like in Sunni, there are some basic books that are accepted or holy writing that's all. In Shia, they have their own holy stuff. Here, it's this holy stuff plus extremely big influence from the North Caucasian, including something that, for example, the Council of Elderly People, who is not recognized by Salafi, arguing that there is no such concept as a Council of Elderly People. This is North Caucasian tradition and not Islam, that there must be mufti, imam, and not some elderly guy sitting there and saying that tradition says this or tradition says something else. On the other hand, we have Salafi movement who said that there's only two holy writings. This is Quran, and the basic Sunnah, and that's all. The rest of what is introduced, this is all lies. It has nothing to do with real Islam. And they said that this North Caucasian tradition brings to Islam something that has nothing to do with its basic concepts. They also say that elderly council is inappropriate and there must be mufti, imam, and those people who have good education in Islam. This education must be classical, and also they added that you cannot speak on behalf of Islam in Muslim community if you do not know Arabic. And in this sense, it's very clear for me because, as I said, if representatives of traditional Islam are usually people who can barely speak Georgian, they have this English, Chechen, various mix of languages, they can speak Russian, they don't know usually Arabic, and contrary to them, they're extremely educated, extremely well-experienced people who has really, really good knowledge of Islam, its classical concepts, Arabic, they speak perfect Arabic, Russian, Georgia, and I mean, they are highly complicated to challenge. But what is more attractive for the people when for the youth who decided to join traditional or true Islam, is not the education, but rather also the socio-economic benefit that this Salafist movement and what they call true Islam brings. They not only come and say that, you know what, you live in Georgia, in a Christian country, you need to self-determine yourself, and the best way to align yourself is to align with us. And we not only know Arabic, and we can read ayats from Quran, not translation, but the real Quran, but we also offer you the chance to find your brothers in faith. We can send you to get education in Saudi Arabia, in Qatar. We can give you benefits. You can join to our Ummah. And in Georgia, you will be the part of our Ummah. There is a business, there is education, there is a knowledge, support. And this is what actually absolute majority of youngsters opt for. Because in a country where the government offers almost nothing to representatives of the Muslim community, where traditional Islam is extremely weak, it's not competitive, it cannot give you any socioeconomic offers. The Salafist movement, what they call true Islam, is the only way where this youngster can finally join. Unless, one thing I should emphasize, unless you have very close ties with Iran, Azerbaijan, and Turkey, because there are some people who go to Azerbaijan because they perceive themselves as a part of the Azerbaijani community, and they have really nice programs for their own ethnic Azerbaijanians. I don't think that they diversify people based on they move on whether they are Shia, Sunni. They look at the ethnic belonging. Yes, that was the main what I wanted to say. I just wanted to add also